And that is where we find our meteorologist, Mike Seidel, this morning as tales of survival are beginning to pour in. Mike?
Talking there? Yeah, we're going to talk about. All right, what we're doing?
Yeah, here's one of them this morning, and we're proud and happy to see that L.J. Salazar is in pretty good shape despite what he went through. And you've got quite a story. We've talked to some other folks and heard stories where people have been picked up and blown away. Let's start with where you were. You were back here near this home, but you weren't in that mobile home.
No, that trailer's my neighbor's, and that's his RV. Our house, mine and my girlfriend's house is right here in this lot.
So it's gone.
It's completely gone.
And
all this right here that's my front window. That's my roof. That's part of my roof. All this is bits and pieces of my house. I was inside the house when it got lifted, and
well, you saw the tornado coming from over here.
Yes.
So this is basically the first place the tornado hit in Perryton, the southwest and northeast.
Yes.
So you saw it coming. What did you do at that point?
I saw it coming from over there, and I went to call my girlfriend because she was coming back from Pampa, which is that way, this way. And as soon as it started ringing, hail started peppering through my roof, and then it ripped off. And right at 5:07, when she answered the phone, my trailer lifted, and all she heard me was screaming. I got ejected out of the house.
And what was the next thing you remember?
Just black and no sound. Just high-pitched winds and me being whipped around everywhere.
Let's walk around the ministries here. Their volunteers are in here. This is their 39th tornado cleanup, so we're happy to see them this morning here in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so we've walked across a couple of lots.
Yeah.
So you can show me where you ended up.
I literally landed on that cement over there where...
By the dumpster.
My in-laws are actually standing. I was outside of everything. I was not in anything. I got thrown out of my house and landed on the floor right there. And that is actually the framing of our house.
Out in the field.
That's the underneath, the actual foundation of it.
And then it went right through town. We can see the grain silos and Main Street, and that's where we've been the past couple of days. But what happened then once you realized and kind of came out of what happened?
I was in complete shock, honestly, because all I can think of was stand up and run. I ran completely down Indiana in shock with blood down my face because I have a gash in my head right here. And then I have no idea where I was going. The people stopped me down the block and got me in their carport and
got some medical help.
Yeah, I had no idea where I was going. I just told them I needed to go to my grandma's.
Well, it's not surprising.
Yeah.
You got picked up, and next thing you know, you're over here. It's about 2 or 3 lots away. 1, 2.
It's actually 4.
4 lots away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're okay. You look darn good this morning.
A lot more fortunate than most.
Yes.
I mean,
you had 3 fatalities, and you were one of the 120 folks injured.
Yeah. I'm probably a lot better off than some other ones. I only got that and a gash in my head, but I'm surprised on that because I was literally in the trailer watching it go this way while I was going this way, and then it just strapped.
Wow.
Because that's my roof. That's a part of my wall. What he's picking up is my cat room.
Right there?
Yeah, that's my ceiling fan. A bunch of my TVs right there. Like, that's my fridge.
So your fridge is over
my
here,
stove,
3 lots over.
My washer and dryers all over here. Like all this is a shamble of these 3 houses put together.
Yeah. And were folks in these other 2 mobile homes? You know? Or were they
yes. Our landlord, Mia, is actually our neighbor. That's her green truck. Her and her son were home.
They're okay?
Yes, he's okay, and so is she. He made it out with literally just a scratch on his arm, and he was inside that truck.
So he rode it out in that truck?
Yeah, in that driver's seat, literally gripping that steering wheel.
My gosh.
Yeah. He got caught outside, and he was playing outside when it started hailing, and literally as soon as the big pieces of hail just came down, there wasn't even a split second, and then that tornado hit. So he got caught inside that.
Okay, LJ. Well, thanks for sharing your story. LJ Suarez here in Perryton, and we are happy to see that you're okay. A little sore, but What a story.
I know. I'm very grateful to be alive. I really feel bad for my girlfriend because she heard everything on the phone and she freaked out running over here. So, or not running, but in the car.
Well, she was obviously overjoyed to find out you were okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Samantha, one of the many stories of survival, and this one is one that I've talked to a lot of folks, but when you get blown out and you get blown down 4 lots and survive with barely a scratch, he's got a slight wound, that is just incredible. We're happy to see he's fine, and many others we've talked to have gone through similar experiences on Thursday. We had more storms last night, by the way, severe thunderstorms, winds gusted to 64 miles an hour. It didn't help the situation, but at least we didn't have another tornado last night.
Well, thank goodness for that. But boy, winds that strong with everything trying to be straightened out, everything a scramble. Thank you, Mike, for sharing these stories with us this morning. And that is where we find our meteorologist, Mike Seidel, this morning. A lot of stories coming, continuing to surface about survival out there, Mike.
And clean up, and let's get right to it. We have about a minute. Kyle Minyard from Outreach Grindstone Ministries. Tell us what you're doing out here this morning.
Well, Mike, we have about 25 volunteers here from 7 states. We're all volunteer, all donation based. It's www.grindstoneministries.com if you'd like to donate. Feel free to come out and volunteer. Email us. Send us an email, admin@grindstoneministries.com.
And this is not your first time.
This is our 38th deployment in 4.5 years.
Tornadoes and hurricanes.
Tornadoes, hurricanes, yes, sir.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Good luck out here. Good to see everybody.
Thank you, Mike.
We've got more stories from Perryton through the morning.
That's where we find meteorologist Mike Seidel this morning on this Father's Day as tales of survival continue to unfold. Mike?
Good morning, Samantha. And I want to make it clear that just a part of the town was hit. It's a town of 8,500. There's only 10,000 in the county, so everybody's right here in town, but it's basically the northeast side of town that got hit. There's a lot of the town is still in pretty good shape, and a lot of the power now is back on. About 12% of the power is still not on. I want to bring in the mayor, Carrie Simons, who has had a busy several days, and what we didn't need last night was that storm that rolled through here and all the trepidation coming when those sirens went off.
It was traumatic for a lot of our people, I'm sure. Me as well.
Yeah, fortunately no tornado, but when you get 64-mile-an-hour wind gusts, that'll pick up the debris and blow it back around. Now let's get to what's going on this morning. We have ministries here from people from 7 states, and they're out here. This is the 39th storm that's cleaned up from tornadoes and hurricanes. So you've got a big turnout from the regional area. What's the status of what's going on in your city?
Well, we're just continuing the cleanup, making sure people do it safely, and we're trying to get food and necessities to all those in need.
Let's talk about the food bank because it was destroyed and we also lost one of its members.
Yes. It's a local church that runs that. It's called Jireh House. And we did lose, there was a victim in that. One of the 3 victims was in there when it happened. A lot of the food was saved, and it is being distributed all through the worst hit neighborhoods. And we've got people cooking a lot of it in those neighborhoods to keep people having something to eat.
Well, I can tell you from the past couple of days, people come up and down the street asking us if we want a sandwich or a bottle of water. So there's been plenty of nourishment out in the streets here, especially these streets where there's basically nothing left. Now, the food bank was a vital part of the community.
Oh, yes. That not only food, but it was used furniture, clothing. It was a big thing for Perryton, and you know, hopefully very soon there will be a temporary location for that to be located.
And talk about the resiliency of this town, as you mentioned yesterday in the press conference.
Well, Texans are tough, and we're Texans even if we're 5 miles from the Oklahoma line. We are still Texans.
Of course.
And we're tough, and we're resilient, and we will overcome this tragedy.
But your quote was, those who had the least lost the most.
Yes. Unfortunately, this tornado hit the most vulnerable areas of our city. Just like I said yesterday, the people that had the least lost the most. And that is so unfortunate. And many of the people the places you look around us had no insurance, no renter's insurance. I mean, they literally lost everything, even their cars.
Right.
You know.
No way to get around, nowhere to stay.
We are working on some transportation buses, school buses, school's out, so we've got school buses. We're working on a plan to take them to the shelter, take them to places where food and water are. We're working on getting some bathhouses, some portable bath, shower facilities and things like that.
Okay, Mayor Simons, we appreciate you coming out, taking your time. We wish you the best of luck here in Perryton, Texas. They'll rebuild. They always do.
We'll be back better than ever.
Yes, and let's keep our fingers crossed. The weather forecast in the near term is excellent. It's going to get a little hot, but it is Texas.
We're used to hot.
But no more storms for a while. After last night, when those sirens went off, I can imagine how those people felt in this town.
Thank y'all for being here.
Our pleasure to get the story out again. The mayor here of Perryton, Samantha, and a beautiful day here. Started off this morning in the low 50s. Compared to the rest of the state, they're leading the charm life, but it is going to heat up here. But again, no more threats of severe weather in the near term as they continue the massive cleanup. Keep in mind, most of the residential areas hit were mobile homes and manufactured homes.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. Thank you for that. And that is where we find meteorologist Mike Seidel this morning. He has more stories of survival and the recovery efforts there. Mike?
Grindstone.
Good morning, Samantha. Yes, back here in Perryton, this is where the tornado first touched down on Thursday about 5 o'clock, a little after 5, was on the ground for 11 minutes and went about 6 1/3 miles. Last night, the sirens went off again. I want to show you some of the video we captured from the hotel. Boy, you talk about trepidation when you've been hit by a tornado and you've lost everything, and you can hear the sirens right there. This hit about 7:30. We saw it coming, and Samantha mentioned not far north of here, they had a sighted tornado up there in the rural areas of the state of Kansas. So a lot of storminess last night, wind gusts to 64, but not another tornado. We have momentous clouds, a rainbow, and hail. Everything but a twister, thank goodness. We'll come back and talk more about the recovery. Day 3 here in Perryton following the Thursday EF-3 tornado on a glorious day. It was in the 50s this morning.
And that is where we find Mike Seidel this morning. He is our meteorologist on the ground, and you have been telling many tales of survival, and there is still a lot of recovery. Right, Mike?
Yes, indeed. And we've got another story of recovery and survival. And we also have another group in here, a nonprofit. This is the Global Empowerment Mission, GEM. And they're based in South Florida. We've got Bianca Bucaram and we've got Kim Bentley here representing, and you go all over and deal with disasters.
Absolutely. When disaster strikes here locally, nationally, we are the first people on the ground as a 501c3. We're given access into the most difficult areas to actually jump into. And we're so blessed to be able to distribute aid immediately on the ground. And we are blessed to have families. And
yes.
Kim has some more information.
Yeah, we have Lisette Rios and her beautiful daughter this morning. And what do you have for them, Kim?
So today we have some Be Strong cash cards with the Bethany Frankel Foundation. What we're doing is a lot of people can't come to our distribution centers where we have our 26 pallets of aid. So we're going into the community. We've established relationships, coming back, making sure all their neighbors are attended to.
So a gift card for you?
Yeah, so this is
You can put that to use, huh?
Oh, yes, for sure.
And can you tell us a little bit about what you went through on Thursday here at your house? Who was home? And
It was me and my daughter only. We were by ourselves, and I was on the phone with my husband because it started hailing. So I called him because he said that he was 20 minutes away from the house. So I called him, and he said, I'm here entering Perryton. I was like, well, hurry up because it's starting to hail. And then it stopped, and it started hailing again, but really hard. And then whenever I came and looked in the window, the tornado was already right here in the corner.
And then what did you do?
I grabbed her, and we just went to a closet. We're just like,
good place to go.
I mean, for a mobile home, the first thing that they tell you just to leave. You know, go to a nearest shelter.
And not enough time this time.
Yes, no, because the tornado was already here.
So when the tornado hit, what did it sound like?
Oh, you can just hear like everything the windows shattered, like everything was breaking. You could hear everything in the roof. I mean, and then I heard my husband knocking on the door, so I had to come out of the closet and open the door for him. And I think the tornado left him because he has a big old bruise over here, and then I think he felt like, but he doesn't remember.
Right.
Yeah, I think
Kind of blacked out for a
yes,
moment.
he blacked out a little bit, and he said that maybe he picked him up because he has a lot of scratches in the back, and
But considering what happened, your home looks like it's in pretty good shape.
Yes, I think. Yeah.
And you've got generators.
Yes, my brother came from Lubbock and he brought us a generator.
And your roof is fine, so no water leaking in from last night's rain?
No.
Now, when the sirens went off last night, how did you feel?
Oh, it was so scary, but our neighbor has a basement, so we were already in the basement.
Oh,
I didn't know he had a
You
basement.
didn't know, now you know.
Now I know.
So the next tornado warning, you can head to your neighbor's house.
Yes, as soon as we saw the dust picking up, we're like, okay, let's go. We're not
yesterday,
taking
yeah,
it.
the
Yes.
dust was the big precursor.
Yes,
Fortunately, no tornado, just straight line winds.
No.
So you're on your way to recovery. Your house is in pretty good shape, and your daughter's fine. What
Oh,
did you think
yes.
about it?
She was scared.
You scared?
She was praying. She was like, Jesus, help us. We
Well,
love you.
Well, we're glad everything is okay. And
Yes.
Kim and Bianca, we thank you for being up here. Now, what will you be doing the rest of the day here in Perryton?
There's no shortage of needs, so we're at the Perryton High School, so people know we're there to collect supplies, tarps, necessity kits, water.
And you'll be distributing
Absolutely.
the supplies from the high school. The high school, by the way, was not a scratch.
Yeah, so they're
Oh, yes.
fortunately hosting a lot of the supplies there, and there's a lot of resources that the community can come get. We know that a lot of people can't get there with their cars not being available, so that's why we're in the community as well. So.
Okay, Lisette, we're very happy everybody's
Thank
fine.
you.
Kim, Bianca, we appreciate meeting you out here, and we may see you again. And you were at Rolling Fork, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they've been quite a few places this spring, and we'll see how hurricane season turns out. Hopefully it won't be a bad hurricane season. So Samantha, another happy ending, and another nonprofit group in town taking care of their business, handing out gift cards and supplies to these folks. And as the mayor said, the folks that had the least here lost the most because it hit this part of town where it's mostly manufactured homes and mobile homes.
Yeah, and it's just so reassuring to see all these response teams in place, really helping people that were impacted. Thank you so much, Mike, for that. And that's where we find meteorologist Mike Seidel this morning, as you're still hearing so many tales, close calls, where people survived the storm.
Yes, there's so many. Every street, every corner, you talk to someone how they had to hide in the bathroom or in the closet. Very few basements out here, and most of the homes hit were mobile homes and manufactured homes. You can see back here just piles of debris. They've done a very good job of clearing the streets since Thursday night, and they had all day Friday and yesterday. The weather has been good, except for last night. Boy, those tornado sirens went off last night around 7:30, and first thing most people saw was the dust. And I went across the street in the field, and look at the dust coming at me. I mean, this stuff is going up, what do you think, 100 feet high? That was the gust front from this severe thunderstorm. It was warned for hail and straight line winds to 70 miles an hour. We did get a recorded wind gust here of 64 plus miles an hour, one of the local weather stations. We also had marble-sized hail where I was standing. Didn't have the large hail we've seen the past couple of days to our north. And fortunately, no tornado. And then we wrapped it up. We had a rainbow. We had the mammatus clouds with lightning. So the offshoot of that is, look at the standing water this morning. Up to an inch of rain fell, and those winds blew around the debris that was already on the ground. But for this point on, for the next several days at least, no severe weather in the forecast.
That's where we find meteorologist Mike Seidel. And boy, you have had just an outpouring of help from different charities and response teams. They are really helping out this morning, aren't they, Mike?
They are, and we've got one that you've probably heard of. We've talked to on the Weather Channel before. This is Mercy Chefs and Chef Gary LeBlanc, who has been to many disasters, and just recently Rolling Fork, Mississippi, last year Ian. And this all got started really with Katrina.
Well, it did. We volunteered after that storm in my hometown in New Orleans, and thought that there was a better way to serve people, that the food should be much nicer than what we were seeing. So that was the birth of Mercy Chefs.
So today you're here in Perryton. You've been here since Friday, and what's the plan this afternoon?
Well, we're serving lunch and dinner, and we'll be going out around the community, handing these out to folks that are still sifting through their homes.
Well, that looks good.
Yeah, a nice little pasta bake with some fresh salad and broccoli, some ciabatta, and then a peach cobbler, apple cobbler, actually. So,
and you'll be here for the duration.
Yeah, we won't leave until the city is done with us. We're also making some plans to stay on a much longer term and help the city as they rebuild.
Okay, we appreciate it. Good luck. Hopefully we won't see you again, but we know we will.
Times are coming that we'll be there.
Okay. From Perryton, Texas, that's a wrap for the coverage here. We'll come back with an update on that tornado warning.